It is a universally known fact that creativity is one of the most valued skills in the real world. In fact, Edward de Bono, Maltese physician and psychologist, said, "There is no doubt that creativity is the most important human resource of all." But how many of us seriously feel like we're creative or are able to come up with actually creative ideas? Now I'm going to ask you two questions that seem slightly off topic. Raise your hand if you would draw or color when you were younger. Let's say between the ages of 3 to 10. Now keep your hand raised if you still consistently draw, participate in the arts, or take an art class. That number significantly dropped, and what we don't realize is that creativity and art is actually the most vital part of growing our creativity. We were once all as creative as we wish we were now, but from that young age, our creativity is slowly snuffed out to the point where it's almost non-existent by the time we reach high school. So how can we continue to grow and sustain our creativity in a society that doesn't give us the means to do so? One of the answers is art. And now just to be clear, art includes music, writing, painting, drawing, theater, etc. But the art that I'll mostly be focusing on in this talk is drawing and painting, although all forms of art are definitely valid. Well, I was the designated art kid in elementary school, the kid who kept drawing after everyone else grew out of their little kid drawing phase. So basically that one kid that would draw an eye on every single paper for no reason. I love the idea that you could create anything your mind can imagine. As I grew older though, I found it harder and harder to fit art into my schedule, especially in school. Art and music stopped being a mandatory class, or even a valued class. And for students who now had to overload on math classes, or classes they weren't even interested in, this was detrimental. And for me, this meant that I didn't take art in middle school, but I was still drawing in every waking moment, doodling on the sides of papers and on desks, after I finished my homework and even on tests. Well, right in the middle of 7th grade, on a Wednesday actually, the COVID-19 lockdown was put into place. And it, as I'm sure we all remember very vividly, lasted almost 2 years. In this stretch of time, everyone was looking for new hobbies, shows, and ways to spend the days. But the biggest loss for me was losing that social interaction with my friends and having to sort through all of those feelings. I fell back on art since I now had unlimited time, and let's be honest, school wasn't really an issue. I would just take out my canvas every day, have maybe 30 undistracted minutes, and just draw and not put too much pressure on myself to make that perfect. What I was actually doing was putting all my stress and anxiety into my work, then finishing my pieces feeling lighter and freer than I had before. I feel like this allowed me to get all my emotions out in a controlled environment where I didn't need to punch anything. So I got curious. What is it in art that actually helps us de-stress? Well, I did a little research and found that art enhances brain function by impacting brain waves, emotions, the nervous system, and also increases your serotonin levels, which makes you happier, improves your memory, observation skills, stimulates a new way of thinking, and you become even more creative. It's all so simple. Everyone has a brain, therefore art benefits everyone. And what I've noticed about what makes art so relevant for me is that it allows me to invest in my mind today so that it can benefit me tomorrow. Whether or not you think you're good at it, art sucks you in the zone and allows you to de-stress and have the power to control your environment and grow your creativity. I now go to a STEM school where I do take art, as you can see some of my art pictured behind me. But still, this means that math, science, physics, etc. are the classes that are prioritized. That's not to say that these classes aren't important, but many of these subjects, or the way that they are taught, don't leave much room for the creativity and expression that is vital to us as humans. And even if we do take subjects relating to the arts, it's a sacrifice because it won't look good in our college application, so what's the point? We stop prioritizing ourselves and our hobbies that make us who we are, and instead take classes that we don't even enjoy. School is supposed to help you explore and learn more about what you love. But what's the point if what you love doesn't fit in your schedule next to 3 math classes? I've seen this happen firsthand with my older brother, who's the reason I'm actually interested in art, because we copy whatever our older siblings do. But as we both grew older, he started to phase art out of his life due to the growing pressures of high school and the need to have pages filled with extracurriculars. And this stifling of art and our hobbies causes a stifling in our creativity. In fact, MIT requires students to take arts and humanities classes along with their STEM classes because, quote, the world's problems are never tightly conformed to a laboratory or spreadsheet. And according to multiple studies, schools that have implemented arts education have reported that students are 5 times less likely to drop out. And there's a drastic drop in student test anxiety when they participate in coloring activities beforehand. Even my STEM school has implemented methods to help students de-stress through coloring. And I think this means that art is really onto something. And that's not all. George Land built a creativity test for NASA, which he then gave to kindergartners, and he retested those same children as they grew. The results were both fascinating and concerning. 98% of 5-year-olds fell into the category of creative genius. At 10 years old, that number was 30%. And at 15 years old, only 12% of those same kids were still considered creative geniuses. He then tested adults and found that only 2% of the adult population had the creativity necessary to find innovative solutions. Take a moment for that to sink in. Only 2%. And this drop in creativity goes back to what I began this talk with, art. We all participate in the arts as kids, but as we grow older, our priorities shift and our creativity bears the brunt of that. In our society today, creativity seems to be such a valued yet unattainable idea. We're always told to think outside the box or be out-of-the-box thinkers, but we're not given the tools to actually be creative. So what is the most accessible way to use art to grow your creativity and become that person with the out-of-the-box ideas? Well, each and every one of you was naturally born with the ability to be creative and curiosity, just like we're all born with the same amount of muscles. What really matters is whether you choose to consistently work that muscle. So students, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes every day to draw, play music, or indulge in your choice of art. Educators, allow for more opportunities in the classroom for students to express their creativity, and more projects where they can utilize their creativity. Parents, give your students the support, tools, and means to grow their creativity and indulge in their choice of art. I promise, it's worth it. As Bill Moyers once said, creativity is piercing the mundane to find the marvelous. Thank you.